Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Our Kids Play Hockey. We want to let you know that we have once again been honored with a nomination for the Hockey Podcast of the Year via the Sports Podcasting Awards. And all you need to do to help us is go to ourkidsplayhockey.com and click on the Vote Now button. It asks you a couple questions. You're in and you're out, and you have voted for us for Hockey Podcast of the Year. I want to thank you all for being a wonderful, wonderful audience and helping us get to this stature of hockey podcasting, because we've done it as a family, as the hockey friends and families around the world. Thanks so much and enjoy this episode of Our Kids Play Hockey. Hey, what's up, friends? It's Lee. Welcome to this edition of Our Kids Play Hockey. Today we're diving into a great topic you'll love, which is hacks for hockey, or hack to hockey. It's really just tips to save money this season. We know with inflation and everything going on in the world right now, you need as much tips as you can to save that cash. And Christy leads this one brilliantly with some tips for you and your family this year to save some hard-earned dollars, right? And if you're looking to save dollars, I hope you know where I'm going with this one. Make sure to check out hockeywraparound.com. The products on that site are built to save you money, including the flagship product, the Hockey Wraparound, which you put on your ice hockey stick for your little ones who spend a lot of money on sticks to protect it so they can play and practice outside, thus keeping you from destroying your $100, $200, $350 sticks, which I'm amazed the sticks cost that much, but we're trying to prevent that with the Hockey Wraparound. So check them out at hockeywraparound.com, 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 and check it out and use the code OKPH for a discount. All right, so check them out and enjoy this episode of Our Kids Play Hockey. Reminder, if you like it, 5-star reviews, share it, put it in your team snap, and make sure you tell your friends about it. We appreciate every single one of you that has supported us thus far. Have a great day and enjoy this episode. Hello, hockey friends and families around the world, and welcome to another edition of Our Kids Play Hockey. I'm Lee Elias, and I'm joined, as always, by my good, wonderful, best hockey parent friends in the universe, Michael Benelli and Christy Casciano-Burns, and we have a great topic today. The first episode we ever did of Our Kids Play Hockey, way back 30,000 years ago before the pandemic, or two if you're counting in actual years. We did a show about hockey hacks, right? We wanted to start off the show with that, something valuable for the audience. And we realized with everything that's going on in the world, the amount of time that's passed, it's probably a good time to do another hockey hacks episode. So we're going to title this episode, from Christy Casciano-Burns, the genius name, Hack to Hockey, play on back to hockey. And we're going to throw the mic right over to her today to go over several tips, tactics, and hacks for you to save this year to make it the most enjoyable, stress-free, namaste moment for you this year. God bless us all. Christy Casciano-Burns, ladies and gentlemen.
You know, some of your best advice can come from those bleacher brainstorming sessions and just tapping into other veteran parents who've been through it, who've saved money. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Even in the lobby of the rink, you can really just share some tips, observe, and learn. So we're going to share some advice that we've learned along the way. And some of it is through trial and error, right, Mike? We failed a lot along the way.
That was a great response.
What are you saying? What are you saying?
I'm saying we learned along the way. You know, we're not perfect. We've made a lot of mistakes, and hopefully we can save you from making the same costly mistakes. I don't know. Well, let's start with equipment. First of all, you know, right now it's time to suit up your kids. Of course, you want to fit them head to toe, making sure everything fits right. You can get a lot of really good deals at hockey shops right now, because you know where you head to? You head to the clearance rack. You use last year's models and equipment and gear. They want to get rid of that junk and push all the new expensive stuff. So don't be afraid to go over to those sales racks and look and see what you can get. You may even want to ask your pro shop. Sometimes parents will order this high-end gear and then change their minds. So they've got this stuff on the shelves. You may not know about it. Ask them about it. Hey, you got any good deals? You know, is there any? I'm looking for, you know, a new shoulder pads for my kids because they've outgrown them. What kind of deals can you offer me? And a lot of times they will take the time to show you what's a good deal. Be careful with skates, because kids often fall into that new skate disease. Everybody wants new skates because their best friend has new skates. What my pro shop did when my kids had the new skate disease, he would take the inserts out of their skates, put them on the floor,
Right.
have them step on it and say, guess what, kid? You didn't grow out of your skates. You're just itching for a new pair of skates because your best friend has a new pair of skates. So, so those are areas where you can save. Shin pads, shoulder pads,
Elbows.
skates, look for used equipment,
Yeah.
ask parents who have older kids who've already gone through a lot of equipment, want to get rid of the kid. They don't want to hang in their garage. They want to get rid of it. Ask them if you can swap. Ask them if you can take the hand-me-downs off their hands. They'll love it, and your kids will love it too. Be careful with the helmets, though. I think we need to talk about this. I never bought a used helmet. I was always spending money on the helmet because I think, you got to protect from a skull fracture. You want to make sure the helmet fits right. I never bought a helmet online. I always went to a shop and had it fitted because the key is a tight fit. You want a tight fit. You don't want it loose. And you want to make sure that you check and make sure that it's not expired. You just look on the back of the helmet for the hex sticker because they'll have the date on there. If your kid's helmet is expired, get rid of it. Throw it out. Don't keep it. You want to talk about helmets, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, to me, like, that's common sense, right? You don't buy a car seat that's been used. You don't buy, there's certain things you just don't buy used. You don't know what kind of, condition that helmet was in, if it was laying in the car, laying in a, like, you ever like pull out your old ski boots, they're sitting in the attic for 4 years, and you're like, oh, I'm going skiing. And then you put your ski boots on, they just explode on you because they're, they're like, oh my God, I can't believe, I haven't worn these in so long, and heat and cold, and you don't know. Those are the kind of things you can't
yeah.
you go.
Because if you look inside, these are all pads in the helmets.
Yeah, and it just
they break down. The foam breaks down.
Well,
the helmets now you should, if you so going back to the beginning there of your, when you go in, I'm a brick and mortar guy for hockey equipment. I just think, getting to know your local shop, it's great to look online and get good deals. But when it comes to like fitting and getting hockey equipment, if you're a young player and a parent of a young player, I mean, the best thing you could do is get a good relationship with your local pro shop, because most of the time, and I would say 90% of the time, they're not trying to upsell you into something you don't need. They just go with the flow of what
they'll do the opposite, actually, Mike, just to support you here. Yeah. I've actually had several pro shop guys like, you don't need to spend the most money on the most expensive product for this piece of equipment. All right. Right.
When you're in equipment, like, you need to have, it's gotta, you want to try things on. You want to fit these shoulder pads, elbow pads, like, because kids get all crazy. Like, I know my kids are like, oh, I don't like the feel of that one. I like this one, or, this one doesn't feel, this feels kind of rough in my elbows, or, oh, I like this one. It feels like my lacrosse elbow pad. So it's more like the other one. So now you can experiment a little bit with that, with the equipment buying, helmets for sure. And then, as far as like new versus old, I mean, I know this might sound a little crazy, but so I email is nuts. So I actually email the kids like these. I get the emails of all the kids that left programs from the year before of the program I'm going to be in. I'm like, hey, listen, I know you left the program. I know you have brand new, breezers, brand new helmet, brand new gloves, brand new shells. I said, you feel like getting rid of it? Because I have kids that are going to make my team that could use all that branded gear. And some parents are like, what are you talking about? You're calling? I go, well, what are you going to do with it? You're just going to sit in your garage and put it in the Hall of Fame someday? Just like especially like,
well, it might be in the Hall of Fame someday,
right? But
I'll give it back.
I'll give it back to you. I just did it for a couple of months. And when it comes to like little kids skates, if your son or daughter is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, basically when you get a used pair of skates, they're brand new. It's not like certainly when I was growing up, I had a pair of like Cooper Roos. If you wore them for, 8 months, they were no good anymore. Like, you had to get new skates because they just broke down and they wouldn't last. Today's skates, they're made so well. Even the lowest skate in the market is made so well you can just recycle that skate to another kid. It's not like they're, we'll get into sharpening, I guess, and hockey hacks later on, but it's not like there's no blade on the skates. Today's skate and today's 8-year-old to 12-year-old, there's no, listen, I can get, full disclosure, I don't pay for hockey equipment. I just get, I work with companies that I can get as much hockey equipment as I want. I don't remember paying for a piece of hockey gear, but
wow,
which for me, that's
I'm jealous.
I'm getting like,
so is the listening audience.
A big chunk of my budget.
I will never pay for hockey gear. No, but I get to try out a lot of gear. So I'm always like, I try in every single glove, every single shoulder pad, but my kids, I don't think my son had a new pair of skates till he's 14 years old.
Wow.
Because he doesn't need them. And because why go through the whole process of, you get a used pair of skates. Now, here's the key. Don't buy a used pair of skates online and then go to your local shop and say, hey, can you bake these for free? Can you help me fit these? I wouldn't do it. I'd be like, get out of my store.
That's just bad business. Yeah, it's just bad business.
So or what I do.
Nerve to do that.
When people come to me to do that, I just charge them, charge them $40. So I'm like, you would have saved, you would have actually bought the skates cheaper if you would have just bought them from me. So
yeah,
that's like, for me, like with just skates. Just get a used pair. There's no break-in period anymore. Like this whole thing that, oh my God, I got to break. Like back in the day, you had to break skates in. You had to
and it hurt.
Like it hurt.
It hurt a lot.
And gloves too. I mean, players literally put gloves on and they're brand new. Like it's like you put a pair of gloves on. It's like these things, like I feel like I've been wearing these for 3 years. So this whole, and I think that's where parents of new hockey players that played hockey maybe don't even understand that, like because they're still wearing their Bauer 100s, from 1978. So I think it's just a matter of which is okay, but and those are great skates, by the way. But I think it's just have the ability to know that buying and getting used gear at the youth level, it doesn't stink, it's not broken in, it's probably not ripped up. Most of the time they're new parents, so they're keeping the stuff in good shape, putting stuff in the wash and cleaning them. Yeah. So that's a huge bargain. There's no, and not to take away sales, but because some kids just like a certain shin pad and like a certain elbow pad. But if you're just going at I'll give you one example. So in the NHL, they have a learn to play program. So you go into the learn to play program, you get a little piece of paper from Pure Hockey, and you go in, you get everything head to toe.
Right.
Now, the thing is, though, they don't follow you for the rest of your career, right? They don't say, oh, well, this is free hockey gear for life. This is free hockey gear to rope you in. Now you're stuck. Now you go, oh my God, my kid likes hockey now. He loves it. Or she loves it, and you want to get more stuff. So now my recommendation from the equipment side is now you just piece by piece. Right. Now you get a pair of shin guards. Now you get the elbow guard. Elbow pads fitted properly should last you like 2 to 3 seasons.
Right.
So,
a
good quality helmet, like spending the money like you should on a helmet. Talk to any doctor that any pediatrician, they probably say the one thing I would never ever do that we all did was like go out without a helmet. Right. There's just no reason for it.
If I can, real quick, and this is kind of like my golden rule. I get asked about equipment all the time from my friends, from other parents. This is what I always say. And I'm going to use the word, don't go cheap. Cheap does not also mean buy the most expensive, but never go cheap on your helmet. This is from Adams to adult hockey. Never go cheap on your helmet, and don't go too cheap on your skates. Again, I'm not saying buy the most expensive skates. I'm saying get a quality skate and a quality helmet. The rest of the stuff is important, but not as important as those two things. Sticks, gloves, shoulder pads, elbow pads, shin pads, and pants.
Well, if you're a
player makes those things.
If you're a goalie, get a good toolbox. But other than that,
great. But yeah, I'm speaking about skaters for sure. You're absolutely right. I'm not trying to forget the goalies. But look, my son is still in his learn to play skates, and he's fine. Oh, wow. All right, and his helmet, right, which we're going to upgrade. But as Mike said, when he needed better shin pads, we got him. We needed new gloves, we got him. But I'm going to say it again. I always get asked, "Oh, do I have to get the most expensive skates?" Get the skate, whether you buy it or get it used, that feels right on your foot. It's not about the money with your skate. Your stick, I'll tell you right now, at the youth hockey levels, 15 down, The player makes the stick. You do not need a $300 Bauer stick with a hole in it. Okay. When you get to a higher level, I do understand how that matters. Right. But you just don't need to be spending a ridiculous amount of money on hockey equipment at the might Bantam down level. So she might squirt down.
Right. And don't be afraid to tap your rink too, because a lot of times at the end of the year, they'll have parents, donate the gear that they don't want anymore. And they'll have perhaps stockpiles at the beginning of the season of really good used gear that you can pick through and have your kids try it on, see what fits comfortably. And also you may want to switch brands. I mean, Sophia always had trouble with her elbow pads. There were certain like CCM, she couldn't wear those, so she'd have to go to maybe the Warrior brand.
Yeah, find what fits.
Sometimes it's not the size, it's just the brand.
Right.
It can make a difference too.
You got to put on what feels good for your body. Right. It's different for everybody. And Christy, I always tell parents too, remember Sidney Crosby, he's a pretty good player, has been wearing the same cup his entire career. Take that with what you will. There's other guys who've been wearing the same shoulder pads that are Brendan Shanahan, right? For some of you guys that are a little older out there, wore the same shoulder pads his entire NHL career. Okay. So if they can do it, we can do it outside the growth aspect.
Yeah. The growth first. Yeah. And do watch for that too, because you certainly don't want equipment to be too small. You want to make sure the pants go below the knee. Always watch, because your kids do have growth spurts during the season. You may not even notice, the coach will notice it, but always pay attention to that. I thought we could kind of move on to travel expenses. I was so excited last night. I paid $3.99 a gallon for gas. And I thought, how sad is it that I'm jumping for joy because the price finally dropped below $4 a gallon. So it's going to be an expensive travel season for everybody. Food costs are up, hotel costs are up, gas is up. So we got to look at ways to save when you're on the road and during the season. I did download the gas apps, which are very helpful. I recently traveled out of town and found some pretty good deals through my, I'll throw it out there. It was gasbuddy.com. It was great. It steered me to a gas station.
Did you just give a free endorsement without permission? That's unbelievable. No, just kidding. That's all. This whole show is one big free endorsement. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So, lean on those apps. They're very helpful. You're laughing at me. I didn't mean to do that. Also, I've been buying in bulk now. I've been going to and I won't give the store brands, but Costco, BJ's. Okay, so I'll hit those stores and I'll buy water and sports drinks and cereal, protein bars, all kinds of stuff that'll get you through the season. Buying in bulk is so helpful because getting those snacks made ahead of time, having the water bottles ahead of time, having the sports drinks where you don't have to spend money when you're at the rink, and have them handy for you at the hotels in your car is going to save you a lot of money.
Yeah. Economy of scale, man. It works every time. Any financial manager will tell you that. Mm-hmm. But it is going to be an expensive year. You're absolutely right.
And when your team is booking a hotel, see if you can make sure that they offer free breakfast. That was always helpful to us. Even if you have games before the time that the hotel serves the breakfast, you can ask them ahead of time if you can grab some stuff to go. They're really good about that. Or your game might be over. Bring the kids back to the hotel. Breakfast is still going on at 10, 11 o'clock. Line them up and feed them. That's one less meal that you have to worry about.
I got to say this too. You also get the kind of enjoyment. I don't know if enjoyment's the right word, of the couple that just happens to be at the hotel that night and they come out for their breakfast and they see the entire team and they just have that look of like, there's no eggs left. What are we going to do?
The kids are making their own waffles.
Right.
It's not
or the kid walks out with 9 waffles and I just wanted one of those, what is this team doing here? But I always kind of find that moment funny. And to be fair, most
you couldn't find those funny moments.
Yeah. Go out to IHOP if you don't like it. Just
also see if your team can book a community room too. Super helpful, because when kids are playing tournaments, they're tired. The best time that they have is just hanging around with each other. I always found it frustrating when teams overscheduled the kids, oh, we're going out of town. We're going to do this amusement park. We're going to go to the movies. We're going to, take the kids to putt-putt golf. They pack so many activities in the tournament. The kids are exhausted. They have more fun just hanging out with each other and, swimming in the pool than packing so much in. And it's expensive, So that's another little tip that I would like to pass along to for teams. Don't overschedule the kids.
This is where team
one
managers
event is usually enough.
Yeah, I would say this is where good team managers come in, right? That they can kind of know how to plan a weekend, and there needs to be downtime. We got an email recently that you guys saw from a parent saying that my kids are exhausted after they get past the first game.
Yeah.
Because they're doing stuff. And look, our advice back was, especially for the younger kids, let them have fun, because that's what this time of their life is all about. You want to make sure that they can have fun. But yeah, you could plan time, plan team meals, plan hey, we're going to get together in this room or this area and watch a movie. I mean, you can plan things that are kind of hacks to getting them to sit down, and it eliminates can we go out to this really expensive restaurant?
Yes.
So I think you're saying planning can save a lot of money.
Planning can save a lot of money, and designating a parent. If you're really set on doing let's say, oh, we want to do a putt-putt golf because we hear it's really fun in this town and they've got a great course. We want the kids to enjoy. Have a parent call ahead and see if you can work a deal with them too. A lot of times they'll give team discounts, which is fabulous.
Yeah, as they should.
Yeah. So have one parent reach out and plan an activity if that's something that you want to do. But again, they have more fun just hanging out in the hotel and swimming in the pool, honestly. The community room is also good to do potluck suppers. So if everybody brings a dish to pass, you can have a great meal, lots of great variety. Or if you want to do like pizza and wings, everybody pitches in and orders from one restaurant. It's much more affordable that way, and a really fun night. And bring your own drinks, bring your coolers. It'll save you a lot of money as well.
It's also great to get to know the other parents on the team. Yeah,
that's the best part.
Yeah. We should have been fun too.
Friends for a lifetime.
Oh, totally. I love the potluck idea. I actually don't think that happens enough anymore. Especially, like if you have a multicultural team, I highly suggest that for multiple reasons. But these are great tips to save a lot of money. And again, I want to reiterate what you said. With inflation where it's at, I'm not sure people are really realizing like, oh, it's just another hockey. You're looking at thousands of more dollars a year, just on that alone. So these tips are fantastic.
Right, hotel costs have gone up.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
I booked a hotel for Sophia's one of Sophia's hockey games, and I was shocked.
Yeah,
because I didn't book ahead of time how much the price had jumped at the same hotel. So it's really going to kind of eat my budget quite a bit this year.
Yeah,
I think a lot of the suggestions you're making too, you're saving money, but you're also it's a better team building environment. I mean, you just hit the if you're going to do a meal between tournament games and you have one parent assigned to bring a couple of beanbag toss games, low impact type things they can do where they could just kind of shuffleboard type stuff, because so many there's so many products out there that are just like fold up, sit in the back of your car, and you can take them out and use them. I probably wouldn't play spike ball or something like that in between games, but you can. But there's so many like low impact things. You can even just a game of catch and frisbee. Like the kids can play for hours and hours and hours. And I think the other idea of I personally love when teams get together in community rooms or a different area of the hotel, because you think you're doing team building exercises at restaurants, but you're really not, because the kids they're all separated anyway. Like most of the time, like you sit next to the one parent anyway, you don't really get to know other parents because you're sitting in a 50-foot long restaurant table and you're telling the kids to shut up every 5 minutes.
That's right.
So I think this way you have just a better environment so the kids can run around. Nobody's embarrassed by the kids doing anything, and like, hey, let's just relax, have fun, and then there's nobody stuck with the bill, because it's always the one parent, right? Like, oh, don't worry, I'll collect, and then they're like, well, I somehow I'm short $380. Why? and it's just an awkward situation. So I agree, especially in today. We talked about this in other episodes too about just being conscious of the fact that not every parent is going to have an extra $150 for a Saturday night meal, and they
won't say anything either.
And they won't say anything.
Understandably won't say anything.
And they don't need to say anything actually. So make it easy for everybody to be inclusive. And if you have some parents that want to go over the top, tell them, yeah, if you want to help and fund more stuff here at this potluck, great. We love that. We love that idea.
Plus team building, you can have the kids clean up.
Everything.
That's even better.
Well, I actually
good luck with that.
2 years ago we had a tournament where the parent, it was great. The parent's like, well, I'm buying, but the kids are serving, and I was like, okay, that's cool. Kids serve first, and then they
Hey, I'm going to say this again, Kristen. You just kind of said like, good luck with that, and I get it, I do. But I'll tell you what, I encourage this type of behavior. It's never too young to start teaching these kids a little bit of responsibility. Clean up the locker room. The things you do when no one's looking and you're not on the ice make you better on the ice. Right. So I'm a stickler on that kind of stuff. I don't always win that battle, to your point, but I try.
Boy, you're so right. We really need to do more of that because we don't. And as parents, we're always like, oh, well, I'll get it. Don't worry about it. I'd rather do it myself.
No, make the kids do it.
Because it'll be done right.
We complain about kids not having manners, but I'm like, well, did anybody teach them manners? Because I'll tell you what, I was taught manners by my mom and my dad, and I got punished if I didn't do it. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those little things. But I'm just saying that, Mike's making a great point. We're talking about hockey hacks. You can save money and build a better hockey team. There you go.
Right. Okay. So so the traveling options, not obligations, is always a good rule when you're out of town. And also bring along your blender, because my kids loved protein shakes before or after a game.
Yeah, great suggestion.
And you can make those pretty easily. Just go to a grocery store, load up on the fruits, the veggies, and you can make your own protein shakes. Every refrigerator, every hotel has a small refrigerator, microwave. So you can get by with that. It
is more affordable and healthier than whatever's in the bag you're going to grab real quick.
Yeah.
Right. And I, as a coach, that's another thing I'm a stickler on. Like I understand that when the kids, I want a snack and you just got to get it quick. You're going to grab what's around. Christy's making a great point. Get some fruit, get a blender, and you got a snack, and it's way better.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The other topic I thought we could address, I made a note here. Sponsors. I think companies are getting more generous with sponsoring local organizations. I even found a couple of companies that actually have it in their budget to donate to local organizations, and it's whoever asks first that gets that little piece of the pie. So don't be shy about that. Some of your major corporations are very eager to help out youth hockey. So you just got to ask, and you'll be surprised what you receive. Yeah,
absolutely. Asking for sponsorships. Some organizations allow for fundraising. And you can get creative with that. So look, there are ways to supplement the money. And again, Christy, I'm going to do the Oliver twist. Like, please, Sam, I have some more. But we're in a time where you actually have a really great kind of like, hey, things are really expensive and our kids need to play hockey. Can I please have some money for the season? Like, you'd be surprised. All of our English listeners, I apologize. But seriously, like, you're making a great point. You actually have the kind of, I don't want to say sale, but you have the script right there, right? Things are more expensive than ever right now. Can you help us out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Any other ideas, Mike, for that as far as supplementing the budget?
Mike's got one of those looks on his face right now for the listening audience.
That's right, the
Jack. The gears are turning in Mike Benoit's mind right now.
Not playing so much hockey. My God, I'm not a fan. Listen, I will go on the record that I am not a fan of fundraising for hockey. I'm just not. It's just you're literally, I don't know, you're asking for money from people for something that you don't need money for. Because if you can there's other ways to not spend money. But I do agree with like sponsorship in a way where if you went to whatever that local business was and said, listen, I'm going to pool all our parents and we're all buying our oil from you.
Yeah,
I think it's great. Like, let's get a little kickback, or hey, go to the local pro shop and said, if we could get all our kids to buy all our tape from you, what kind of bulk discount would you give us? Like that's where I would spend my money. I'm just like, I see these fundraisers all the time. Like, my kids got to go to a weekend in Toronto. Can you help them raise some money? I'm like, go ask your own family for that money. I'm not paying you for that money. Like, that's like, to me, that's just an extra that you don't need, because you're forcing it on, people. And I do agree with you. People are, if you want to give money, give it to ice hockey in Harlem, give it to ice hockey in Norwalk, give it to, the Schneider School, give it to those places. Like, if you want to raise money as a hockey team, raise it for kids that actually need the money. But for me, if you want to save money, then be like you said, Chrissy, be creative. Be in a place where you know the local deli. Say, hey, guess what? Every Saturday, our kids are coming here for breakfast. Can you give us a deal because we want to do
fantastic idea.
Like that's the kind of stuff that I would do. But I get a little sensitive with you know, when you're spending when you see a kid come in. And it's probably because of my background, right? I was like an admissions director for a long time, and people would ask for the first thing I would get is like financial aid, requests. Well, what about the financial aid package? Oh, well, I put it in the trunk of your S series Mercedes. So I just get a little like I'm like, well, who do you need the financial aid? Like, how could you even ask for that? And right. I looked at the same way for hockey players. I'm like, wait a minute, you're asking for me to give you money for your trip to Europe when why you're playing you can afford it. Stop. So just put your money somewhere else. But I do love the fact that go to local places, go to your local Cracker Barrel, go to your local Subway, go in and be and your organizations actually should be doing this anyway, where I've seen tons of organizations at every sport come up with those like discount cards. They used to be really big. I don't know what ever happened to why they don't succeed, maybe because of online, but
the internet
whatever. But you just go, maybe I'm dating myself, like I might the phone book sale over here, but I think it's like one of those things where if you can leverage the community you're in and show that you're going to patronage that community, I'll be the first one to say, yeah, let me help these kids out. This is unbelievable.
Right.
I just want to give a quick shout out to the Girl Scouts of America while Mike's on this topic. I'm a Thin Mint snob. Find me. I will buy them.
Thin Mint.
That is the fundraising that I'm into. No, Mike, you're making great points. I would say this. Anytime you're looking to get sponsored or raise dollars, make sure you're looking at how it's being done, right? Because you're right. It's not about just trying to kind of throw money out to get money. Does it make sense, right? I think that's a great add-on to this tip. But yeah, great. Again, Christy, it's another great one. And Mike, the suggestion to go to your pro shop and go to the local restaurants, I think that's brilliant. I think it's brilliant. It's a no-brainer for those businesses.
Yeah. We did a restaurant takeover one night where, our kids went in and they bussed tables and they, sat people, and the restaurant gave us 10% of the proceeds that night. We packed the place.
That's awesome.
Families coming. So that was a night we didn't have to cook either.
I think those kind of nights are awesome because
everybody wins
all the boxes. It's checking off team building. It's checking off community relations. It's kicking off, the getting out and not cooking. There's so many great opportunities there. And I think one of the things I want to add too is, this is, and we've talked about this a little bit before, but maybe we didn't dig into it enough, that, really put a survey out to your organization and your team and find out what those parents do and help them. Like if you have a parent that's a landscaper and you don't have a landscaper and you need a landscaper, or you have somebody that mows lawns, or like give the business to the people that that you're taking business away from because you're going to Toronto every weekend.
Another great point.
To me, like I don't even understand how people do it. I'm like, how? I drove down to an organization I was speaking to recently, and I'm driving down the highway, and a lot of the kids in this area come up to go to another organization and play. And I'm looking at the traffic, like literally the cars are stopped. I'm going, how do people do this? Like, how do people, give up 5 hours of their night to go to hockey practice when they could be in hockey practice down the street? But knowing that, and you're on your team, find out what different people do. You don't have to tell people, I guess, if you don't want to, but if you're somebody that bedazzles jeans, let them know that, and then go to them and get your jeans bedazzled. I mean, I think it's just a way to incorporate your families into what you do. And I think I don't know.
That's what you pulled out of that bag was bedazzling jeans.
Well, I'm a big bedazzled jean guy. So I think it's just like,
that's what he picked when he put his head in the bag.
I couldn't think of anything.
His secret life.
I have
Benelli's bedazzles.
You guys see all the diamonds I have. All the diamond.
I have some figure skates I need bedazzled. I'm going to bring them to you.
Bring them on.
We had our driveway sealed last summer by a hockey dad. His company seals driveways. Our team dinners were held at a restaurant owned by a parent fantastic, and of course, he gave us a deal and we continue to patronize him. We'll have dinner there every couple of weeks, so yeah, support each other. Get each other's business cards. And,
right.
And
because you all know how much you're spending.
That's right.
How are you affording that trip up to Toronto? Well, good thing you've asked. How's your driveway looking?
It looks beautiful. You did a great job.
I keep putting my kids on the team with the team mom that keeps organizing these things.
Yeah. All right. Anything? I'm trying to think if there's anything we haven't covered.
Just all real quick stuff. I'd love to talk a couple of things, Lee, and you because it's on the top of my mind here. And I think I don't want to say these are outside the box type of things, but sometimes they are, because I think people look at you like, I don't know how you're doing the math there, but it works. Trust me. If you're going on a road trip and you really want to have a team building exercise, go rent a bus. And I'm telling you right now, look at the price of what that bus costs for your 18 kids and parents. And it's cheaper. It's cheaper than every person getting in their Tahoe, putting gas in the car, and going to Rochester and back. It's the coolest thing for the kids. It's really only costing like each parent $25 or whatever, $30. And guess what? If they want to booze on the bus, they could go crazy. And the kids could be in the back.
You're talking about the parents, just to be clear, everybody.
Well, it depends on what age you're going. If you're with 14
he's talking about the parents, just to be clear.
So you're telling me it's cheaper to get a bus?
No doubt about it. Do the math. Really? I'm telling you right now, do the math.
And it's correct.
Wow.
And I'm not talking. I mean, you could get a bus. You could get a bus trip for like almost $600-700.
Yeah, he's not talking a school bus either. Yeah, he's talking
coach bus. You can get a nice coach bus. The kids get to put their bags in the bottom of the bus, and they get to go there. You teach the kids some etiquette, like you don't go to the bathroom on the bus. You don't bring any fish on the bus, things like that. Like you start teaching them and they almost feel. And the reason it came up for me when my son was younger was he was always around me with all the teams I worked with. And when he first became a hockey player, he's like, okay, when are we meeting the bus? I'm like, we're not meeting the bus. You're going to be sitting in the back of the car for the next 3 hours. I'm driving. Put your headphones on, kid. And I think because just the normal thing is like, oh, I'm on a team. Don't we take the bus? Yeah. Like for a 6-year-old or 7-year-old, I think that's they think that's normal. So, but you can make it normal. You can make it fun. And if you're really a smart organization, you're going to find so you find the places that have buses. If you have a local professional baseball team that has a bus, you go to them and say, hey, you know what? Your bus is not being used in the off season. Or guess what? That bus is costing you a lot of money. Can we rent your bus for our team to go at maybe 2 teams? If you have your 12U team and your 10U team going to the same place now, because those buses, you could hold 60 kids on those buses easy.
Mike, you're making a great point.
It's just really cool. Just really cool things you can do that would be like cost effective, team building, really cool, and you build like this sense of community. And let me tell you something: you want to intimidate another team? Show up on a bus. Show up to the game. Show up to the 8:00 game in Voorhees, New Jersey, on a bus.
What do you do? We're making it look mean. No, but I'll tell you, Mike, to your point. Like, just think about this. I never
thought of that. That's a fantastic tip.
We have a tournament in York this year, in York, Pennsylvania, and everything is in one spot. The hotel and the rink and even some of the fun stuff are all within walking distance. And I know for a fact that at least 2 of our teams are going. So like this makes total sense. We could get both teams on the bus. We could cater the food. We don't ever have to leave the area, the compound, I'll call it. Right. I'm getting 2 teams together now, which is important. By the way, just quick side note, I have started doing off ice again with my son's Mite team, and the other Mite team jumped in. And I'm so proud of that, because it should be all of them working together, not separately. That's a totally another episode I'll have later. I just had to say that to you guys. But yeah, like you're right. I'm going to propose that, Mike. That's a great suggestion.
Wow.
That to the team.
It's fun. And I'll tell you right now, the parents, you all have your parents that will drive, because you're always going to have the parents that are going to drive anyway. So good.
The stress relief. The stress relief is insane.
They could be the shuttlers, though. If you have somebody that's going, you can say, okay, you're the guy. You're going. That's great, because in case we need to run around for something. But if you're going to be all in the same complex, if you're going to a tournament, if you're going to the hotel, the rink, the restaurant, make it easy. Make
the stress relief of just not having to drive. alone.
I regret I didn't put this in my USA Hockey Magazine article this month.
Well, you got to talk to the right people.
Well, you put it in our Kids Play Hockey this month.
It.
Yeah, no, it's you put it in this.
All right,
in this
it'll be
magazine.
in next month's.
Yeah.
By the way, this
That's
episode is
great.
based off of an article that Christy wrote. So make sure that when you get your USA Hockey magazines, you take a look for our hockey mom, Christy Casciano Burns. Every single edition, she's in there. There's also a wonderful cartoon and tips for life by Christy Casciano Burns.
Yes, thank you.
No problem. That was my promotional voice.
Yay!
I'll do one for Benelli's
well,
Bedazzles later.
And I think back of all the years and how that would have just really bonded the kids. It would have been so fun, and it would have made them feel like really classy, showing up at a rink in a bus, getting off.
That's what pro teams do.
We missed some opportunities.
Yeah. It's funny, Mike, about what you just said. My quick suggestion was going to be like carpooling, but you've just completely trumped that in the best possible way.
He trumped it.
The ultimate carpool. The ultimate carpool.
Yeah, it is. And you're right, man. The kids, man, you want to see them have smiles on their face. Also, if they're acting up, it's just sit down. That's all you got to say. You don't have to look in the back of the car.
You just tell the bus driver.
I'm driving. When I'm driving, I can't look back there. Don't you understand that?
Right. Bus drivers are good at that. They know how to shut kids up. So just tell them, just sit there and, or the parents getting a little rowdy. But I think it's just, I don't know. It's a cool, fun little thing to do. Now, don't go extreme. Don't tell the kids they got to be in suits and ties. And things like that. But just have some fun.
You loved matching team warm-ups, hats, pants, underwear.
It's the whole purpose of the hockey hack, I guess. Get the bus and save a lot of money, but then do a fundraiser to get sweatsuits.
No, I love it.
Well, we will talk about carpooling because I did save a lot of money over the years. I had a travel buddy, and we would, because my husband would have to take my son to his games, and I would take my daughter to her games. And I didn't like traveling alone, so I would always share. I would take my SUV one weekend, she would take hers. Our daughters would travel together, and it was great because we would talk about, all the girly girl things, and the kids in the back entertaining themselves. And then we would share the room. We'd split the cost. It was much more affordable, split the gas. So that is another option too, if you can find a travel buddy.
Yeah, make sure your kids are on the same line instead of not, that person.
Yeah, that's true.
That's an awkward ride home when your kid doesn't play at all for the whole weekend tournament and you're driving home with your buddy. But again, no, I think that's great. I mean, carpooling, to me, it just makes sense, right? It's just like, and again, if the whole idea is that you want your kids to interact and maybe tell them to put the phones down and have a conversation, and maybe you can but it's a really good way to have other dynamics going on side of just, you put your head down going, driving 3 hours.
Yeah. One more just hack for me. This is kind of a two-prong one, and then we'll be through this wonderful episode. Is look, the holidays are coming up. There are companies that do amazing sales at the holidays. It typically is one of the best times to pick up equipment because you can get really good deals and really good discounts. The other side of that is when the new equipment comes out, which is right around September, October. Last year's equipment drops in price pretty heavy. And parents, I'm going to tell you this. There's not much difference from last year's gear to this year. There are times where there's a significant advancement in equipment. Like when we went from 2-piece or wooden sticks to full composite, that was a bit of a jump, right, in price and in quality. But when Bauer, CCM, any of the companies release their new stick, I know there's advancements. It's not $150 a stick worth of advancements. And I that's no offense to the stick companies, right? So just be conscious when you're buying it. The equipment companies have done a fantastic job of reinventing themselves year after year of the new shiny thing. And when I was growing up and Mike was growing up, Christy, your kids were growing up, man, it was a 50-30 Sherwood wooden stick and it had Paul Coffey's name on it. That's what we all played with. There was no flashy new stick. So just don't allow the kids to dive into that as a way to get you to spend more money. In fact, in my opinion, this is my opinion. You do them a service by doing the opposite of you get what you get. You don't get upset. The stick doesn't make the player makes the stick. Right. I think that's really important. Mike, I did want to throw it back to you just real quick for any goalie tips, because we are talking about skaters mostly, especially with equipment. Did you have any just tips for goalies?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's the same. So I work with a lot of goaltenders now on just making sure that they have, not only the proper equipment, because now they've all outgrown their stuff, but these kids always want to upgrade things. you don't have to get like, I think what happens with goaltenders too is it's the same thing. Like if you don't go into like a goalie shop and because the gloves are so different. Like when you see the kids that get gloves, and you don't need the high end stick, you need a paddle that works. And basically, and then you want to make sure, again, you're fitting your kids. I'd rather see a kid fitted with used gear than new gear that's too big because you want them to grow into it or her to grow into it, right? So just find the used gear that fits well, because that's going to be where your development happens. Then try to get something that's really nice and new that you say, oh, please, just if you can wear it for 3 years, it's going to help me out. Like, well, the kid's not going to be playing in 3 years because they're going to be cut from every team they play on. So just be in a, because you can't get better if you're playing. Like I remember growing up, like my father, I'd have to wear like heavier wool socks in certain times at the beginning of the year, and I'd slowly work into regular socks and then no socks. Because he wanted me to fit because I got skates that were too big at the beginning of the year, so I could grow into them. I'm like, but that just doesn't work. I mean, this is crazy. Like, just like so just it's just the same thing as goalie gear. Just be careful of it. And I think to Christy's point at the beginning, don't go buying used goalie helmets. You'd rather get an unflashy or good helmet than a really flashy used beat up helmet with a face guard that maybe is a little loose. So just just that kind of stuff, and the other stuff, it's comfort for goalies, right? So just find something that's comfortable. Make sure you have goalie pants. Don't let your 10-year-old wear regular player pants. Make sure they're having goalie pants because they're much different. They have a lot of different padding, and you want your son or daughter to stay in the net and have success. And we talked about this on an episode just recently, right? With Mike, just be aware of the fact that you want to protect them as much as possible. So get the right gear that fits properly. That's all.
A goalie friend, mom, took her son's pads that had little rips and tears in them to a local shoe repair shop, and he did a beautiful job repairing them and skates as well. So that's something you might want to seek out too if you've got a shoe repairman in town.
Yeah, and goalies have this really cool, they have this thing called like goalie skins. So you could take like an old pair of pants and buy the skins for them and put your own colors on them and make them look new and make them look nice. And I think it's really, kind of upgrades. And if you're, really, does your 6 and 8 and 10-year-old really know? It's the same thing with pads, right? If you have an 8-year-old, they're probably not, beating their pads up unless they're wearing them in the driveway or something. But they buy them. You get the kid that bought them new. You use them, get them used. You look a little meaner anyway. You look like you've been stopping pucks. There's a lot of black marks on them. That's going to look better. You don't want to. You have a goalie that comes in and there's no marks.
You scuffed it.
I stay away from the goalies with no marks on their pads.
What's that tell you? You better be careful with that one. But no, this is all.
I played 2 years, so look at this. Not a mark on these.
Not a
mark. Great.
Like when people walk over shoes. Yeah, I don't know what to say to somebody of that. But yeah. Look, I made a commitment a couple episodes ago. We had that great interview with Mike Shelley, goaltending coach, that we're going to do more content for goalies because he's right. We don't do enough. In fact, I'm a little ashamed of myself that I waited till the end of the episode to ask that. But we're going to have more goalie content soon for all you goalie parents out there. But
goalies are allowed on the bus too, so they can contribute to the bus trip.
They're driving the bus, I thought, right? No, what's that 8-year-old driving the bus for? Christy, you suggested this episode. It was fantastic. I always love, love when you bring these to the table, and
we'd love to hear your tips too, because I'm sure there's a lot that we haven't covered, and there's probably a lot of new hacks out there. So please share them, and we'll pass them along to other parents. That's what we do. Yeah. We share and we learn.
I'll tell you what. Go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
No, you're absolutely right, and I'll share my favorite glue gun.
Like with the team?
I'll share my favorite.
Oh, with his Benelli's Bedazzles.
Yeah, my Bedazzles.
Oh man, that went over my head for a second. I was like, now you're leaning in.
What?
Now you're leaning in.
That's right. He's a bedazzler.
Any of you graphic designers out there want to make him a logo, we'll share that live on our website when you do it. But look, Christy makes a great point. Look, we're averaging over an email a day right now. When you hit us up at team@ourkidsplayhockey.com. Send us over your tips. We'll read them on the air. And as we always say, we're trying to make a community here, and it is growing fast. You listeners are unbelievable to us. So again, if you have a comment, an episode idea, you just want to talk, we get a lot of just advice asking type emails too. Team@ourkidsplayhockey.com is where you email us. As you know, all of our episodes are available wherever you listen to podcasts. Amazing stat. Every single episode we've ever recorded gets listened to at least once, pretty much every 30 days, which is insane. You are the best audience in the world, and we appreciate it. So again, with that said, for Christy Casciano Burns and Mike Benelli, I'm Lee Elias. This has been Our Kids Play Hockey. Visit us at ourkidsplayhockey.com. And this is coming out probably mid-September 22. We know your seasons are about to start or have started. So just want to wish you from the three of us, our family to yours, nothing but the most wonderful, smile-filled and eventful hockey season of your lives. All right. So Christy, Mike, anything else before I go?
Yeah, maybe a little more affordable too. Hopefully, after listening to this episode, hopefully it won't check your wallet into the boards.
and tell your local pro shop we sent you there, please.
Yeah.
Our Kids Play Hockey sent you there. That's the fun. We're going on the show. Everybody, have a wonderful week. Have a wonderful season. We'll talk to you next time. Take care. We hope you enjoyed this edition of Our Kids Play Hockey. Make sure to like and subscribe right now if you found value wherever you're listening, whether it's a podcast network, a social media network, or our website, ourkidsplayhockey.com. Also, make sure to check out our children's book, When Hockey Stops, at whenhockeystops.com. It's a book that helps children deal with adversity in the game and in life. We're very proud of it. But thanks so much for listening to this edition of Our Kids Play Hockey, and we'll see you on the next episode.